first and foremost, thank you all for coming back and welcome to Talks with Griff. For those of you who don't know, my name is Dorian Griffin and I'm the host of Talks with Griff. And with this platform, my intention is to bring on really empowering, impactful, and inspirational people who have the ability to speak about real things that are happening within people's lives. None of these people really operate on a surface level, no slight to people that do, but these people have a very strong depth and weight about them. With that being said, I have a very amazing friend, man, empowerment coach, model, all around amazing being in the seat today. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself.
Going on, everyone. I want to first say thank you for allowing me to be on here to just drop any gems or whatever comes out of me to release and be of service to help everyone. My name is Raymel Bentley. I am an empowerment coach. My intention with my clients is to help them see the powers that they didn't know that they had, helping them remove energetic blocks that they have inside of them that's keeping them from expanding and truly growing into that best version that they were created to be.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you really guide them through helping them liberate themselves in a sense, because I find that anytime that we have conversations or based on the conversations that we've had in the past, isn't there a similar blockage within the people that you come across? Would you say that that's the case?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are just, they have things that they have experienced that they don't give attention to, thinking that if I don't pay attention to it, then it'll just go away, not knowing that it's just following them throughout their journey and keeping them in a stagnant place in their lives.
Yes, yes. And you can only distract yourself for so long, right? It at some point in time, it's going to come knocking, whether it's knocking at 3 a.m. or whether it's knocking at 10 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean? It's always going to be that voice that you hear that says, hey, I'm going to need you to pay attention to this. And what I realized too, something that happened to me back in 2019, a friend of mine told me this: either you will do it or the universe will do it for you. Now, either way you want to take that is completely up to you. You can get strong armed or you can go willingly. And I find that the reason why people don't have the ability to, or the reason why it may be difficult for people to liberate themselves is because it's difficult for them to spend time with themselves, to get to know self within them, because they're afraid of what they're going to see. Would you agree with that?
That, and as well as if you haven't been taught how to pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, it's going to be foreign to you. So when you run across these roadblocks and things that are keeping you from just expanding, being courageous and going after things you want, it's easy for us to play the victim and point the finger at outside sources and say, well, if you did this, I could have been here. If the government did this, I could have been here, versus sitting and asking ourselves, what do I need to do to get to the next level? So that's really where that is. Like, if we haven't been taught it, we don't even know how to even get started.
Where to even begin. That's just it within itself. Is like, there's this bridge, and on the other side of this, there's this gap. I need to build this bridge. On the other side of this bridge is my level up. Where do I begin spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to begin building the bridge? It's not even really about the destination. It's about me seeing some form of progress. And it's just like how you said, we are only the results of the level of awareness that our parents had at that point in time, because they are our models for God or the universe. So once you become a grown child, you have to start reparenting yourself, because you find out that, man, some of the things that they said, may not really suit me to the best ability. And again, that's no slight to them, but I'm finding myself in a place of being like, this isn't conducive for me spiritually, so I need to find a way to bridge that gap, or to at least begin taking steps in the right direction. What are some of the tactics or tools that you use, and some of the tools that you use within your profession to get people to take those steps confidently within themselves?
For me personally, I had to make a conscious decision that I was ready to change. I had to choose that I was ready to take action and become the best version of myself, because coming from the upbringing that I did, I came from a place of never feeling safe from the time I entered this world, being in a abusive just childhood, being molested as a child, being homeless, having so much just things that happened to me throughout the early stages of my journey. I just felt like victim for the majority of my life. And it wasn't until I said, okay, Raymel, there's more to life than this, but are you ready to take action, commit, and just become that best version? So it came for one, me making a choice that I was ready to expand. And from there, I had to reach out to mentors. I had to have tribes that were on that same expansion journey to where I can lean on them, they can lean on me, and just have that support to where I didn't feel alone and knew that there were other people in the world that were just on this journey as well. So really having the mentors that allowed me to learn from. I'm a sponge now. I've come to realize that I am a better student than I am a teacher.
Mm, I love that.
Because the universe truly is a university. And when you learn that everything is a learning experience, you don't allow yourself to question why me. And you know that this is something that's going to teach me how to get to that next level. So I just had to really be a sponge to all my mentors, to my surroundings. I had to evaluate what surroundings do I have that I no longer need, that I've outgrown, that I need to release. Because if I'm trying to go to that next level and I'm holding the weight of all this old version of who I was, it's gonna feel so just hard for me to get to the next level. It's gonna feel like it's just
treacherous.
So that's where I had to really just do a self-analyze and see like, okay, what do you need to release? And the hardest thing is releasing relationships, releasing family, releasing jobs, significant others that are not a part of this new expanded version that you're becoming.
Yes, that man, I love that. The universe is a university. That right there. If I had some type of audio mic drop, I'm gonna have to drop that thing. But you said a lot within that, and it ultimately you truly got to a place where you decided within yourself that it starts with me. So how do I become safe within me first to allow myself to fully let these emotions run its course and remove what's comfortable, which at that point in time for you was being in a victim mind state, operating from that frame of mind, thinking that the world was a very detrimental and dangerous place, not really knowing how to bridge that gap to get to where you wanted to be as a man, as an individual, as a spiritual being. So, and the challenges that come along with that become the teachings that you use when you meet people along your journey. I like to think of it as, I don't know if you've ever been a gamer, but obviously I am. Well, I can't say obviously, but when you're on a journey, let's say it's a single person game, when you meet people along your journey, they give you experience. You get like 500 experience points, and you use that to level up in a sense. You gain knowledge, you get tools that help you along on your journey. And I say that to say that you realize that even when it comes to family members, even when it comes to especially romantic relationships, and like the ego really wants to latch onto the no, like you can't leave me because you broke me open and shit. The release of that allows you to take in the blessing. You know what I mean? I've gotten to a place where that I realized that the universe will always give you a lesson and a blessing at the same time. You're never going to get one and the universe just be like, okay, you're good with that. You know what I mean? And usually what I find from my perspective is that the blessing comes a little bit after like the lesson starts to like die. Once you start to get it, that's when the blessing kind of makes its way on in there. A friend of mine, Brienne, says that the universe always gives you the reciprocal. And when you really operate from a neutral space, you begin to see that.
And the universe gives you what you're ready to receive. Because if you're not ready to receive a long-lasting relationship, because the universe knows that you need to fall in love with yourself, you're going to get people who are on a vibrational alignment of where you are. So if you're broken, you're going to attract a broken mate. And you guys are going to try to look for each other to fix each other. But in reality, you have to fix yourself individually. And then that's how you can be a beautiful combination together. If you're in a place to where you're still attached to the lack mentality, the universe isn't going to give you a lot of money because you're going to blow it fast. You're going to just go wild and crazy, and you're not going to be ready to receive it. So the universe gives us exactly what we are able to handle at whatever point in time we are on our journeys.
Yes, I completely agree with that. And I find that a lot of people too, because I get asked this question all the time. Well, Griff, how do you seem so, you said it right before we got on. He's like, you seem so, everything just seems like stacked right. Like that there's an alignment that like, there's this solar energy that's coming off you. Like, what do you do? And the only thing that I can really tell people is that once you become comfortable spending time with yourself, you begin to listen to what it is that your spirit needs, not what your body desires. And that takes time. It's not something that you master overnight. I mean, and it's something that you will always still have to become comfortable with listening to. But the only difference between me and other people is that I don't mind putting myself in that comfortable position to be like, okay, you're feeling this right now. What is coming up for you? How can you use this to get to where you want to be later on in life? How can you use this to integrate the next phase of your being as a man, as an individual? And how can you use this to help other people get to what it is that they're going through at a point in time too? Because what I've also found is that people like me, at least I can't speak for you, is that when we're really aware, we want to help people so bad. You really want to just throw them on the other side of the river and say, you good, you got it. But playing divine intervention doesn't help them gain the lesson that they need for themselves. The minute you try to strong arm somebody through, they're gonna be shaking and screaming. And it's like, well, why? It's like, why are you shaking and screaming? Just chill. And as you said, they're not ready. They have to come to a place where they say, okay, I'm willing, I'm able, and I'm ready. And it may not even be at that point in time where that they speak the words, but just by them speaking the words, I feel like that releases the unnecessary tension that the ego is placed on them about where they are right now within their journey.
And I think of it like, and I'm not really like super into sports, but an analogy that comes to me whenever I used to see someone that was in a hardship, that was going through the motions, and I wanted to go and save them, I had to realize I'm intercepting their touchdown. Meaning, the universe is trying to teach them so much and trying to expand them, but if I'm trying to come and save them, I'm taking away that from them and not allowing them to grow. So I had to release that need to please, that need to save, and just really say, you know what? I'm here if you need me, but I have to set boundaries on how available I was. Meaning, if I wasn't in an emotional place to really take on what they needed that support or whatever with, I had to set that boundary and say, you know what? Right now, I completely understand and I'm sympathetic to what you got going on, but I'm not in a place to help you. And it's hard to do when it can be a loved one, a family, or whatever the case, but I knew that it's beyond my control. And I don't want to intercept their touchdown. That's their goal they're trying to get. So let me focus on the ball that I'm running with and get into that at the end of the field.
Yes, I love that. It's like, yo, you do your touchdown celebration, you do your dance because you did the work. You ran that route, you caught the ball, which was a lesson, and then now you get to celebrate. You get to experience that moment. You don't want to, because that's just, I completely understand that. And it allows me to think about allowing that person to experience growth as they will, especially when you're in a relationship. It's like there's you, there's your partner, and then there's the relationship. There are going to be some things that your partner and even a family member needs to experience without you. As much as you want to put the band-aid on it, put the peroxide on it, help them heal past it as fast as possible, the best thing for us to do is to look at them going through that experience with love and know that we're there like, hey, I'll hold your hand, I'll walk through this with you, but I can't do it for you. As much as I want to, I can't do it for you. And it pains me. I would love to, but that doesn't help you. What happens when I'm not here to aid you? What happens when I am on vacation or something and you really need me? Or what happens when I'm speaking on stage and you call me or something and I'm not there? You need to be able to gain what I like to call spiritual fortitude. And building upon that requires, at least in my assertion, isolation. I think isolation begets transformation, and it's uncomfortable.
And that's why last year we were all, if we look like at the bigger picture, we were all given time from the creator of the universe to take time to sit with ourselves. Mm-hmm. A lot of people weren't used to that. So that time that they had locked down, they were going crazy. I need to be out, I need to be doing this, I need to do that. And we were unaware. If you were in a place to where you understood what was going on, you knew that, okay, this is my opportunity to go inward, to heal things inside of me that I've been neglecting, taking time to expand and to grow. But if you weren't in that awareness, you felt victim to what was happening. You were just, oh my God, I can't wait for them to open things up. And not really being aware that this is your time to truly grow. This is your time to truly become better. But people aren't used to that because of what we were taught and not taught. So that's where we were just in a victimized. A lot of people, you hear 2020, they just felt like it was the worst year ever. For me, I say it was the best year ever because that's where I expanded. I got a life coach. I'm a life coach, but I got a life coach because every good coach has a coach that they're working with. And
yes.
So I got a life coach that helped me embody the feeling because we're in a vibrational universe. So what I used to do was I used to run away myself from like just being in an anger place because growing up, when I thought of anger, it was physical. I seen my father abuse my mother. I seen her husband abuse my mother. I seen just violence when it came to anger. So I'm like, I don't want to be that. I grew up seeing that, and I made a promise to myself I wasn't going to be that as an adult. But I learned that anger is a powerful emotion that has to flow through you, and that's how you release it. But if you're just neglecting it, it becomes a block. So what happens? It becomes a trigger that when someone says something, does something that reactivates that feeling, you just go crazy.
Yeah,
volcano. It in a way that I have control. You can talk about me, say whatever, not do whatever, and it's not going to affect me because I've already healed that part of me. So now you don't have power over my thoughts and my feelings. I do. And a lot of people are unaware. So that's where 2020 was a year for us to sit and really deal and heal things that we needed to. But some did, some didn't.
I remember back when I got back from my escapades in Dubai, when we were all really communicating within the group on Facebook, everybody seemed to be in a space of questioning what in the hell is going on right now. It just seemed like every other day somebody's like, yo, I'm dealing with this. And then you pop up in there, yo, you got it. It's all good. You got to trust. This is just the beginning though. So get ready. There's going to be more to come. And they'd be like, okay. And then a week later, if you popped up in the group saying something's going on, everybody's like, yo, whoa, Ray is feeling something. He's the one that's holding it down for everybody. What is going on right now? Like, hey, are you good, man? Like, you need us to call you. And that, what I really love about that is that happened organically. A lot of us at that point in time were really into the paradigm shift with Bob Proctor. We were really checking on each other more frequently because we knew that this is a time of healing. And many of us have not, as you said, spent enough time with ourselves to know what our shadows are, what our triggers are, let alone how to integrate them. You know, one of those moments that I will never forget, Christina. You know, Christina, she's just a fiery woman, fiery, powerful woman. One day, man, she called me and I was not expecting this. And she was just low. She was just really low. And you know, Christina is like, she'll grab you by the throat and still go and succeed in the best way that she possibly can. And I remember experiencing her like that and thinking to myself, even though I'm experiencing what I'm going through, I need to find a way to be safe enough within myself to let her know that this is a vulnerable and safe space for her, because she was an example of somebody who hadn't spent enough time with herself. So she felt kind of shameful of that she allowed somebody to see that side. And we have to reiterate people that it's okay to allow your emotions to flow how they will, as long as it's in a space of safety. And once we create that within ourselves, we could get in community with people that feel safe enough to allow their vulnerabilities to show. One of the things that I ended up learning in 2020 was that I was still shameful and judgmental of things that I did earlier within my life, because I had this notion of not being like my father, my biological father. And that's a crutch, because when I met the man once in my life, and after that, who knows where he's at right now, but I always told myself like, oh, you're never going to be like him. You can't do anything like him because that's lesser than you. And sitting in my studio apartment, the only thing that I could think of was that everything that I told myself to not do because I thought it would be like him, I ended up experiencing those same things. And I'm like, that's interesting. So what does that mean though? That means that I can't allow my ego to attach itself to something that I don't even understand. I don't understand his level of awareness. I don't understand what it is that he experienced. And it's disrespectful to me to give myself an unrealistic expectation of somebody who, one, I don't know, and an expectation of perfection. It took me not long, but it took some trial and error to get to a place so that I can speak about these things in a healthy manner and not feel like the man on the other side of the camera, this woman, this person who I met at Starbucks, is judging me about what I experience. I feel that, or I think that once you get to a place that you can express what it is that you experience or whatever traumatic event that you experience, once you can talk about it, you've released it, you've learned what you needed to learn from it, and somebody else can gain something from it as well.
And what I've learned too is what we run away from is what we really bring to us.
Yes.
We try to run away from it, but we don't know that. We're like, I'm running it, but I'm taking it with me. And then I stop and wait, I thought I left you. Nah, we're really bringing it with us because that vibration is within us. And once you release that vibration, then it's no longer going to be something you attract, but what we give our attention to it. I had the same thing. I didn't want to be like my mother or father because they were alcoholics. My father gangbanged. My mother was into drugs, and I just didn't want to do that or be that. But I noticed there was a point in my journey where I got into alcohol. I bartended and I just had like a spurt of where I would just get wasted. There's some things I wasn't happy about. But I realized, wait, you told yourself you didn't want to be like this, but look at what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because my vibration was, I don't want to be, I don't want to be. And the universe doesn't know want or don't want, it just knows vibration.
Exactly.
So the universe is like, okay, we'll take this. This is what you want, right? And I'm like, I don't want it, I don't want it. It's like, no, but your vibration is saying this, so I'm going to give it to you. And it's really me just, I guess for me, the game changer was learning energy. Like I study, I'm actually currently reading this book, Frequency, Your Home Frequency, which is just teaching the energy on a different level. And I'm always just finding myself attracting just things, people that are expanding my knowledge and awareness on energy to where now I truly feel powerful. Like before I would say it and I would feel it, but not feel it. But now I know I have the power to create my reality. I know something I want, I can have it because I expect it. Like I go somewhere, order some food, I expect it to come because I ordered it. Same thing with things that I want in life. I expect it because I believe in it and I know that it's mine and it's going to be my reality, and it always happens.
Yes. One of the things that I love that you speak about is surrendering and completely letting go. And obviously you are at a place within your journey where that is somewhat of a cakewalk to the uninitiated, somebody who doesn't know. So now that you have this newfound knowledge, especially within the book that you're reading, and you're able to really release your ego from things, what are some tools, or what can you say is a way that people can learn to let go of the need to know? Because the only thing that makes us want to know is the ego. The ego's like, I need to know, I need to figure it out now. I don't care. I manifested this and it's not here yet. Like, bro, it's been 8 seconds. Like you have it, but it's been 8 seconds. So what is something that you can give the people in regards to surrendering and letting go, truly trusting within the universe?
It's so funny because I have a client who has been battling releasing the how, and he always finds himself, because I've been working on him with embodying the feeling of things he wants, and he's getting better, but that how always comes up to surface. And on everything has a polar opposite polarity. That's just how just the world operates. And on the other side of how is stress. Because if you are on this like how journey, you got to trust that what you want. So instead of you focusing on how I'm going to get the money, how I'm going to get the resources, how I'm going to get that expansion, shift to the other side of trust, and just the simple words, I trust that the money that I want is available for me to receive. I trust that the expansion that I am working towards is coming exactly at the time that it's meant to happen. So when you just shift that just verbiage, something inside of you ignites to where you're like, wait, yeah, I trust it. And it's so powerful. There's power in the word trust. And when you add I trust behind whatever it is that you're focusing on the how, that how becomes a non-factor. But you're like, wait, I feel more powerful when I say I trust versus when I'm on this other side of how I feel powerless. So it's just shifting your focus.
Yes, the law of polarity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, man. And one woman who I love a lot is Florence Scovel Shinn. I don't know if you know about her or I've heard of her. You are going to love this woman. She's no longer with us, but her teachings are. And I'm gonna have to send you some of her things, because just the way that she speaks is specifically like that. She understands that words are spelling. That's why it's called spelling, because whatever you say, you may not think that you believe it, but simply because you said it, the vibrations came out, and those are the biophotons that you have sent out into the universe. And the universe is like, okay, you said I can't, and you firmly believe that. But if you shift that to saying something else that's a little bit more comfortable for you, like I trust, and you see the results of you trusting yourself begin to happen in the 3D plane, like, oh, I trust myself a little bit more now. And especially when you think back to when you couldn't do something, you weren't thinking, oh, I couldn't, or I trust, you just did it. It kind of gives you a little bit more power and more stability in knowing that you have the ability to achieve anything that you want to, because anything that you said that you have wanted to achieve, even if it's something really minute, you've done it to the magnitude of what is acceptable for you. And that's really the only thing that matters at the end of the day, not trying to get somewhere to a place of perceived happiness, but at peace within yourself.
hmm And that's true just for me living. It's me being in a peaceful place to where I don't let the outside world affect what I got going on inside. So like right now with everything happening in the world, people are like, how are you so calm? How are you so
Hmm.
like how are you not affected? People are dying. I'm like, I don't look at it in that sense because I know that everything that's happening in the world is happening exactly how it's supposed to. And I can't control that. I can't control what the next person is doing or not doing. I can't control all the chaos and just things that happen in the world. The only thing I can control ever in life is my thoughts and my feelings. So if I'm in a place of peace, of true happiness, I'm going to see that in the world because that's where I'm vibrationally. So I'm going to see throughout the chaos, I'm going to see that bucket of water that can put out the fire. But if I'm not in that peaceful place, all I'm going to see is fires. And what? I'm going to be a part of igniting more fires. So that's where that inner peace for me became addicting because I now have kind of become an energy snob to where like I'm cautious of what energy I'm around because I'm like an empath. I can pick up energy just so crazy to where like if I have a client who's going to cancel, I feel it before they do.
Mm.
I just pick up energies like just stronger now. So in the world where everything's happening, I feel it from so many variations to where I recently did like a 7-day social media fast. Like I deleted all the apps from my phone. I didn't want to have access to it because I felt myself getting pulled to things that were happening. I'm like, no, this isn't aligned with where you are right now. So the only way
Mm.
to truly reconnect with yourself is to disconnect from the outside.
Mm.
So I had to disconnect from all of that, and I just needed time to sit with myself. I meditated, I hiked, I was out in nature, I was just doing things. I was letting my spirit guide me to what I needed to do, which I signed up clients, got like it's so crazy that I was guided to do it, but there was a reason. And if I didn't trust, I wouldn't have did it and missed whatever
Yes.
I'm out of it. But I'm in a place to where I know if I'm being called to do something, I don't doubt it for a second. I'm just like, say no more, let's go.
Yeah, there's no reason to doubt it. And I love that, to disconnect, to reconnect. I feel that within the collective space on IG specifically, there's a lot of love and light being pushed. And people are really thirsty for truth. They're really thirsty for transformation. They're really thirsty for healing. And I get somewhat it hurts me to know that people find it uncomfortable to be with themselves. Something as simple as going to a lake and just listening to the birds, listening and feeling the stillness of what is happening around you is meditative. You're meditating at that point in time. And with you doing that, taking a hike, taking a break from social media, from the external stimuli, like giving your brain and your vessel a time to recharge, rejuvenate, is necessary for you to get to where you're going next. Because no longer do you feel obligated to make 3 or 5 posts a day, or I got to do these stories, I got to get these engagements. It's like, hold on, bro, stop, put the phone on airplane mode, sit here for a little bit. What do you feel? How have you felt in the past 5 hours? Are you tired? A little bit. Do you need to take a nap? Maybe take a nap. You wake up, take a nap, and you're like, oh, that actually felt really good. You know, that resting is really good. I want your opinion on this.
Mhm.
Something that I thought about is that when it comes to the quote unquote level up, or when your frequency raises or your level of awareness raises, because the 3D vessels are dense and flesh like, they move a little bit slower. But on the spiritual realm, because you are transitioning faster, you it manifests itself in the 3D as you may be feeling sluggish, you might binge out a little bit, you might do things that require you to either rest, or you might take action in a very chaotic way. Do you think that that has some form of resemblance to one another in regards to the reason why you don't see the manifestations of the transformation happening within the 3D so quickly is because on this plane things move a little bit slower. Get what I'm saying?
Well, in the 3D, we it seems that's what we focus on time, but in like the 4 or 5,
Yes.
time doesn't exist. So that's why when you're in a vibrational match to things that you want to manifest, in the 4D, 5D, we know that that is just a vibration. So it's just how strong your vibration is. It's going to be how quickly you attract it to you. Which in the 3D we call miracles, we call luck, we call, oh my God, there's something out of line, but it's no, you were just in alignment with what you thought and how you felt, and you were called to take action, which made it your reality. But when you're out of alignment, it seems slower. You seem like I can't ever make it happen. Like, why is it taking so long? And until you truly match your thought with a feeling and it's on a true vibrational match. It's like turning the station. If I'm trying to listen to FM, and I'm on AM,
what are you doing?
It's going to be static. And that's where a lot of people have static in their lives, in their just internal, external just experience, because they're not in alignment. But it's this easiest shift in that station to FM. And now you hear the song you've been trying to play. Now you see that thing that you've been trying to play. But we are unaware of that. So we call life so hard. We say it's not easy. And we're so this illusion that you have to slave mad hours and do all of these things. And in reality, that's just you out of alignment trying to force to bring to you.
There's that F word.
Bring the wrong things to you because your vibration is lack. So you think you're expanding, but you're still attracting lack to you. So you may make a little money, but what happens? It goes away because your vibration is lack. So you're like, okay, let me get what I can because there's not going to be more. Versus when you're in that higher state, higher just version of yourself, you know that I have access to any and everything. So there's no need to get anxious. Like when I plant a seed, it ain't growing tomorrow. When we were born, we were a sperm cell that had 9-10 months in our mother's wombs.
Yeah,
we just did our mother to get pregnant, and we were born the next day. And so when I think about it, because I was thinking about this the other day, I'm like, throughout our life, we're always being. If you're paying attention, you see that there's stages and phases that we have to, from the time that we were in our mother's womb to the time she gave birth to us. We didn't just come out her womb and start crawling and walking. We had to crawl, and that took a minute. Okay, we got comfortable with that. Then we start walking. We got comfortable with that. Then we learned how to talk. We got comfortable with that. Then we got to school. So if we pay attention, there's phases that we have to conquer to get to the next level. But as adults, we think that goes out the door. And that's when we stop learning, and that's when we stop growing, because everything is changing. And we often get stuck at a job that we're not happy with, but we feel like we just got to pay the bills. We're stuck in a relationship that we're not happy with, but we're afraid that I may not find no one else, or I've been in this situation for too long, so I might as well just deal with it, not knowing that if you truly tap in and connect with your feelings are always trying to let you know it's come to an end, because everything has a season and a cycle, the law of rhythm. So a lot of times we're trying to bring summer and drag it into fall, but we were just meant to enjoy summer, get that tan, enjoy some heat, and now let's shift to the next season. But we are unaware of that, so we're just bringing, and we're harming ourselves, because once we really release, then we know, like, all right, well, what's the next phase that I'm going to learn? What's the next thing I'm going to experience?
Complete self-sabotage. That was beautiful, man. That I like to think of it as we're just really grown young people. You know, like we are only byproducts of how we operated as children. And the only reason we think we need to do something is because society says, oh, you're hashtag an adult now. And that's another title. It's a label that has a construct based around you doing responsible things. And some of the oldest people you'll meet are the most freest. Like if you ever sit down and talk with an elderly person, they're like, man, y'all young ones worried about too much today. It's like life is short. Live it, experience it, do your best to root yourself within the present and not try to be so focused on what may or may not happen within the future. I find myself resonating with, I don't like saying old people, with the elderly so much, because they just have a certain level of, their frequency is different. You know what I mean? It's like if you're talking to grandma, the love from grandma is completely different than the love from a friend. You know, you go and sit to her and you feel like you can just tell her everything, because what haven't they seen yet? What haven't they experienced that has brought them to the place where they can just tell you what's on their mind, and you'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. You know, they said I'm gonna be okay, you know, and I'm gonna be okay.
Funny story. I was at the grocery store probably like a week and a half ago, and I'm going to the self-checkout to check out my stuff, and this older lady, she said, damn, you fine. And then she comes over to me and she says, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm just old and bold. I said, all right, I'm not bad at it. But they just don't care. If they just have a feeling, they're going to speak it and release it. And I rock with it.
Yes, they're okay with themselves. You know what I mean? They don't operate from a place of being like, oh, like I don't want to. Like is something going to happen? They say, hey, look, I like you and I want you.
And I wasn't thrown off, because I mean, I was flattered if nothing more, but just the fact that she came, she's like, I'm old and bold. I said, you better keep that same energy throughout your time here on this earth.
You already know that's how she came to the planet, just like that. Everybody that she wanted, she picked them just like that. Like, you come over here. I love it though.
they feel like, what do I have to lose? And in reality, that's where I started to adopt that just mentality. Like, if it's something I want, what do I have to lose if I go after it? I feel like I have more to lose if I don't go after things that I want than if I try and it doesn't work out. At least I try and I learned something. But if I don't, that's like one of my things. I don't want to leave this vessel or leave this earth and finish renting this vessel and not going after everything that I felt called to do.
I'm glad you said that because going back a little bit back into 2020, I was really bitter about not getting the result from the program at the time that we all were in because I don't want to say that I was sold a dream, but maybe it didn't work out for me. Maybe I didn't do everything that I was supposed to do. I'm not sure, but something within me just would not let it go. Because at the end of the day, he is the reason why I got into fitness. I found him on YouTube, started doing his workouts and everything, started fasting. I was like, yo, this dude knows what's up. And then that's how I really got into personal development, not necessarily because of him, but because that was my time for me to go into training mentally, physically, and emotionally. And once I got back and I realized like things didn't start to work out in the way that I wanted to, I was like, well, like why? And that's where I was causing myself self-sabotage. I was just breaking my own heart because something didn't work out in the way that I thought that I wanted it to. And that was the very first lesson of what I needed to release during that time working on doing shadow work is like really understanding that you didn't lose anything from this, but you gained a lot. And I wasn't looking at it from that perspective. I was speaking to a gentleman in another community that I'm in, and I gave them a story of what I experienced within the community that we were in and the program. And he looked at me and he was like, so you're a personal trainer, you developed your body, you developed your spiritual self, and you gained a level of emotional intelligence that most people find it difficult to do. So within those 2 years, how did you fail as a personal trainer? And I was like, yo, I get it now.
Mm-hmm.
I understand now because even by me training people at the level that I did, a lot of my training was bent and focused on the inner self. I tell people that my body is just a reflection of what I decided to do up here. I made a choice. I said, this is what I want, and I attained it. And that got me to doing, I guess you can say, more deeper work in regards to helping people understand, like, if you place limitations on yourself, then that's all that you will ever see is limitations. But if you truly believe that you have the ability to do a handstand push-up without being on the wall, I guarantee you, give yourself 60 days, give yourself 90 days, but be confident within yourself, knowing that you can do it, and you will do it.
I mean, that's the hardest part is if someone's never done something, it's hard for them to believe, well, how can I do it if I've never done it? And a lot of it is I never tried. Either one, you never tried, or two, you tried and it didn't work out. So you just threw in the towel and say it ain't for me versus building that muscle. How we got into these physical shapes that we are, we didn't go to the gym once or twice and our body just like became amazing. It's a practice every day, just going, hitting the weights and adding the resistance that allows the expansion. So it's really that resistance. People think resistance is bad and I used to, but I know that in life you need some resistance because that's how you're able to grow. If everything was butterflies, peaches, and cream, we're not growing. Like we're enjoying, but are you truly enjoying? Because you're not expanding if you don't have challenges. You're not growing if you're not experiencing hardship. Because in those times you find your strength. But if you're just like in a place where everything is just working out, then you're not really tapping into that power that's inside of you because that power is hidden behind all those wounds, all that trauma that is like stuck in you. And that's where I learned about energy blocks that I help my clients with, because that's where you can't manifest when your energetic attachment is in lack, doubt, disbelief, and fear, but you're trying to attract abundance. That's not even close to even
the opposite forces. Yes.
That's what you have to release, get access to that energy field. So now you can just go and say, okay, what do I want? And it's like I call it like the treasure box. Like, okay, what do I want? And you have access to it once you do the work to release those blocks. But if you're not, then of course this verbiage and what we're talking about is going to sound so foreign to a lot of people because if they're not in the work, they don't even think it's possible.
Yes. And as you said, like nobody was there to really teach them. And with people being really vulnerable today, they go on the social media, they see somebody such as yourself who is truly empowering people to love themselves, liberate themselves from their own suffering. They think, what is this man on? what is she on? Like they gotta be on something. They gotta be selling something until they realize that the truth and the divinity that's within you is yours by birth. The only thing you have to do is allow yourself permission to accept it. And once you accept it, you just start to take off from that point. It may not happen overnight because it's a constant journey. That's why it's called a journey. But it starts with the belief that you can live life differently than you have been living it.
It's definitely possible. We are not created to come here and suffer and be in poverty and go through like just and be stuck in those things. Certain things we can't control, like the families we were born into, our race, gender, and stuff like that. Like obviously that's beyond our control. But what we do once we are at an age to where we can make a change, to where we can take action, that's within our control. So that's when I hear so many people like, oh my God, I can't catch a break. Oh my God. I start calling people out. I challenge anyone I come in contact with.
That's the best thing to do.
I was at the gas station, and someone was trying to ask to wash my windows. And I'm like, why don't you get a bucket, set up shop by the air thing, and start washing cars? That's doubling your buck, and you're going to bring in more. I'm always trying to challenge you to expand. You making chump change washing windows. You can make dollars washing cars.
Yes.
But I'm always going to just challenge you. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. If I see you arguing for your limitation, I'm going to challenge you because you don't even realize you're arguing for your limitation. So I'm going to try my best to help you at least have access to another way of seeing it. Whether or not you take it is your choice, but I'm going to present it to you.
You planted that seed though, just by you saying, yo, there's a space over there. There's an abandoned building. You know, once you stack up some change, that building can become yours. And before you know it, boom, you got Jack's car wash. You bringing in dollars. You bringing in bags on bags. People know you now, right? Because what you do is you get people to break their own cognitive dissonance. Like we were saying earlier, you can't do it for them. But just by you planting that seed, they'll be like, yo, he right now. I have been here like 2 weeks, you know, and I only got like $30 out of this. Let me start with my car and see what people do. And then when you think about it too, I've met people who some of the best detailers, they just people from word of mouth. Detail your car for $40, $35, and before you know it, boom, your stuff is sparkling clean. And it's calling people out. You do it out of love. You're not trying to make them feel any lesser or anything like that. You really want to get them to a place of knowing, like, yo, like, look at this, really look at it. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but the reason I'm having you look at this is because I want you to see that you're the only reason why this is happening, and the only person that can stop this from happening is you. I'm just a catalyst that helps you decide I'm gonna go up this hill versus thinking, should I go up this way? Should I go up that way? Do I need more supplies? Nah, just start. You'll find out. And it's okay. You might fall, you might get a few scrapes, but did you start? Yes. Did you make it to the top? Yes. Then my work is done.
Mm-hmm. And just know I'm a vessel. Like a part of my morning routine when it's non-negotiable that I do not do this routine. Like every morning I wake up, I do my affirmations, gratitude. And one of the last things I do is I surrender to the creator. And I'm like, use me as a vessel. However you want to use me, use me. And I sit in like silence and just let whatever downloads come to me. So throughout my day, I know when I'm being used because the words that are coming out of me, I know they're not my words because I don't even know where vocabulary they're coming from or just how it is, but I just know that I'm being used in that moment. And when people thank me, I said, I'm just a vessel. Those were not my words to give you. I was just delivering something that was meant for you to have. And just really once I started to surrender, I noticed how much of an impact I have when I interact with anyone I come in contact with.
Yes, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. I was talking with my sister this entire week actually, and she said, I release you, not me, but whatever it is that she's experiencing. And I was like, yo, you need to trademark that, because when you say that, first thing when you wake up or before you go to sleep, you release any attachments, anything that you have, any obligations that you feel that you have to uphold based on ego. It allows you to move through that entire day knowing that you are operating strictly off of love and based on what it is you're sent to do. And you get that confirmation from people when they're like, Ray, oh my God, thank you. I don't know what I would have done if it wasn't if you weren't here with me. You're just like, nah, like we're here, we aligned at this point in time. I was meant to pass this message on to you. You did that yourself. It wasn't me. I'm here I'm happy to have the experience with you. I'm happy to experience it with you. And I'm glad that you were able to do your touchdown celebration. Now go make some more touchdowns. Go score some more points.
No, it's possible to make those touchdowns. It's all that I could like just really just pass on to them is that you can make the touchdown just as well as me. 'Cause you know, a lot of people get stuck in the fan role, but they don't believe that they're stars. So they'll
Oh
cheer on
man.
all these celebrities, athletes, entertainers, and they're like their number one fans. But when it comes to being that for themselves, they don't believe that they could do what that other person's doing. And I just am my intentions when I have like encounters is to show people you have so many gifts that you have access to, but why aren't you using them? And they're like, well, it don't never work. I don't have the time. I don't got the money. And I'm like, well, you know, that's a choice. And once you start to bring that awareness to them, that's when the resistance comes because now they're feeling uncomfortable because I'm calling your bluff. All the excuses you're used to using and telling someone else, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm challenging you. And now they're like, oh shit, my cover's blown. Okay, now I can't. Now that's where the resistance comes. But when I still stay in my peace, stay in my love, stay in my compassion, they have to eventually start to receive some of it because I'm not meeting you at your vibration. When you're trying to get rowdy in this, I'm still in my calmness. So you're like, wait, you ain't trying to offend me. You're not trying to like tell me what I need to do. You're just challenging me. So now they become aware, like, okay, even if they don't do anything in that moment, I planted that seed. So now they know that I do got gifts and I could put them to use. Why aren't I? So I leave them with that question, like, well, why aren't you?
That question, that taking me right at the prefrontal cortex, man. All day they're going to bed like, man, I guess I can, go on and do this. I mean, what's one live on hurt? Okay, well, 5 people showed up, but I did it though. And let me do the next one, and do the next one, and do the next one. And Christina said something earlier to me this week that landed so perfectly. She said that your purpose ends up being revealed to you over time. You don't get here knowing exactly what it is that you're meant to do. You kind of just take action with whatever it is that you think you should do at that time. And I believe you said this too, that whatever it is that you're doing at the time, that currently is your purpose and that leads you on to something else, which is also a part of your purpose. So is it safe to say that someone's purpose is seasonal and it changes over time?
Well, I believe for me, just like I know the entrepreneur world and life that I'm in, I started off as a personal trainer and I thought I was about to be this big celebrity trainer, having all these celebrity clients. And what came to life from that was a lot of my clients said, I like the physical results, but mentally I feel recharged and strengthened from after our sessions. So that right there was my aha, like, okay, Raymel, you're more than just a personal trainer.
Yes.
Like you have a gift with helping people see things in a different light. You have a gift by just like encouraging and inspiring people. So I had to tap more into that. So that was just a door opener for me to get into the movement towards my purpose. And it's still becoming aware. I'm becoming aware of what it is now because I'm now shifted from mindset to now energy to life energy coach to now empowerment coach. And it's going to change because I've learned as I expand the spirit, the soul doesn't really attach to labels.
Mm-hmm.
And in this physical form, we need to know what your label is so we can know how to identify you and how we can treat you. Mm-hmm. Versus when you're in the spiritual realm, you're like, I don't want to be boxed in a label. Like, don't put me as this thing because I'm more than that. So now I'm just realizing I'm more than that because I public speak, I energy coach, I model, I do so many things that if you just try to put me in a box, I'm never going to feel comfortable. So I just say I am adding contribution to the world and letting my light shine and helping others see the light within themselves.
I love that. I think that that's a beautiful way to close it out. Before we end this, what is one piece of wisdom that you can leave with the people? And where can the people find you to get some of that empowermentation from you, to get some of that nice, loving solar energy that you truly have within you? It's been a blessing being able to sit and have this conversation with you.
Of course, it's my honor and pleasure. You can reach me on Instagram, Raymel B, RAYMELLB. Facebook, Raymel Bentley like the car. I also have, if you want to inquire about coaching, my life energy coaching program, you can go to www.bentleytransformation.com and set up a consultation. I would love to talk and see how I can be of service to help you. Additional, I got my Bentley Gems Energy Stones bracelet lines that I have out. So Bentley Gems with 2 S's.com. Go. I have different varieties of stones that help support you with just tapping into your intuitive side, having self-love, releasing doubt, having confidence, whatever you need, go to bentleygems.com and you have some good, beautiful bracelets that will definitely support you. And what I'll leave with you all is just know that you're so powerful. we may not believe that, and it may be hard to process and digest and think like, well, I don't feel powerful. My account isn't good. I got so much chaos going on in my life, and I just feel helpless and hopeless. But know that that can change. But it only can change when you make a decision that you want it to change. No one has control over your thoughts and feelings but you. So take your power back from anything you may have given it to outside of you and create the life that you were born to do.